Hi, welcome to this 23rd part of our series. Today our topic is individual and global consciousness. A definition of consciousness is one of the most fascinating problems of humanity. Our new paradigm, unified physics, gives us for the first time a real possibility to define our individual and global consciousness in scientific terms of a unified quantum theory. We have started to define our unified physics from the basic description of the unified family of all possible physical quantities. Here we remember the final definition of the basic plane of this family. The universal unity means the quantum creativeness, the potential to create everything else in our universe. We elongate this universal unity along the axis of dimensions, the axis of existence, to the two-dimensional quantum area. And we elongate the universal unity along the axis of periods, the axis of experience, to the two-dimensional quantum time. The area of a quantum provides it with matter, and the period provides it with spirit. Therefore we call all quanta in our universe as matter-spirit quanta. Now, we are ready to define the global consciousness of humanity and the individual consciousness of every one of us as two triplets of commonly used concepts, ordered in a new way, allowing to differentiate between them precisely, and use them in a scientifically verifiable context. In the proposed terminology, soul, body, and mind should be understood as the individual expressions of the global concepts of the creativeness, matter and spirit, respectively. However, in order to understand those relations more precisely, we have to consider also the second main discovery of the unified physics, the quantum spectrum of matter-spirit. As we remember, this table defines the quantum spectrum of all possible matter-spirit quanta in our universe. This spectrum contains the traditionally accepted classes of the smaller quanta of the inanimate matter, molecules, atoms, atomic nuclei, and quarks. Nevertheless, we have to remember that the traditional definitions of those quanta completely exclude their spiritual, temporal properties. Surprisingly enough, only the two lower classes of the living matter-spirit quanta has been identified till now in the living organisms. The brain quanta are completely misunderstood in neuroscience and in brain research based on the old paradigm. And the superbrain quanta are completely unknown in science today, in 2019. The brain quanta are completely new structures in brain, with their macroscopic size between 0.05 to 5.0 centimeters. Only such large structures becoming activated in our living brain as a conglomeration of neurons and all other cells in a brain can be made responsible for all brain activities with frequencies between 500 Hz and 0.05 Hz. This range of frequencies includes all brain waves observed in the traditional neuroscience and in brain science. However, as far as I know, such large brain quanta, responsible for the observed frequencies, have never been defined and investigated in the traditional brain science. We have an organ in our body, outside of our head, allowing us to build a superbrain structures of neurons and other biological cells. It is our gut. The gut brain cells are able to form such large structures with a size of average 50 centimeters, necessary to undertake the functions of a superbrain. We cannot think with our gut brain, but we can feel with it. Physically seen, we are able to concentrate much more energy with our gut brain than with our normal brain, Because one superbrain quantum has its quantum energy 10,000 times higher than a usual brain quantum, collecting energy of 100 millions of neurons. It is the reason why we experience love and other feelings as being so powerful. By the way, the new definition explains also why we cannot find any thoughts or feelings in a dead brain, as well as meridians in a dead body, when the corresponding collective quanta had already lost their energetic identity. Neither our individual nor our global consciousness can be immaterial, purely mental, or spiritual. Both are physically describable products of our superbrain, today represented by our gut brain, influencing our individual brain. Our individual soul, body, and mind are fundamental elements of our individual consciousness. With our present brain diameter below 25 centimeters, we can only use our gut brain to feel the global consciousness activities. A mirroring of those records through our still too small brain has been recognized as conscious activities or decisions. But we see now why we should rename the subconsciousness into superconsciousness. The superbrain activities, reaching physically the space outside of our body, is the real possibility to communicate between individuals. Such transpersonal communication can be included now into rigorous science based on the new paradigm. The global communication joins us together with all other brain-using living organisms. The collective consciousness of all users of brains and superbrains forms what we have called in the defining table as the global consciousness. Its primary component is the quantum creativeness, or universal creative potential, expressed in our global material existence and our global spiritual experience. The global communication joins us together not only with the other brain users but also with the surrounding cosmic environment. That is one of the sensational discoveries of the modern astrophysics. The growing amount of superbrains on Earth is consuming a quickly growing part of the cosmic energy from outside of Earth. So, let us summarize this important definition of consciousness. We have suggested for further consideration in the unified science that our individual consciousness is our subjective perception of our soul, our body, and our mind. And the global consciousness is an intersubjective perception of our group creativeness, our group matter and our group spirit, regardless whether the group is our great family, our nation, or the whole global civilization. From the other side, the global consciousness is a product of all contemporary superbrains, but also of all superbrains of the organisms which lived on Earth till now. The information of the ancient civilizations is still written into that global consciousness energy field. We only have to learn again to read this information out from this field. It's all for today. Please join me next week again. Bye bye.